Hello everyone, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My name is Osereme. If you see me for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. Hit on the subscribe button and turn on notification bell if you are interested in everything sewing tutorials and pattern drafting. Now in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I made this cute top that I'm putting on right now. I absolutely love how this came out, and I love the fact that you can wear it with either a skirt or a trouser, so it's absolutely versatile. This is a simple crop top with a bell sleeve that has a V shape at the end, as you can see. So if you're interested in learning how to make this, keep on watching. And if you're still here to subscribe, please hit on the subscribe button and let's get started with the tutorial. So guys, this is the fabric I'm going to be using to make this top. If you want to make the top and the skirt, you will need at least 3 yards. But if you're only going to be making the top, 2 yards of fabric or 1.5 yards should be enough, depending on your size. So because this fabric is very colorful, I'm going to be drafting the pattern on my pattern paper because I want the lines to show very properly. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a straight line across the top of this pattern paper. This is going to be serving as my shoulder line. Now guys, from the shoulder line here, I'm going to come in by how deep I want my neckline to be, how wide, sorry, and I want it to be 3 inches wide. So I came in by 3 inches and I'm going to go down by 3.5 inches. Now this neckline, you'll notice that it's very high, but if you want yours to be wider and deeper, please go ahead and add more inches. So as you can see, I'm going to be using my curve to create a round neckline here. Again, from the center of this paper here, I'm going to go in on the shoulder line by half of my shoulder measurement. I marked it here, and from that point I came down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and from this 1 inch I came down by, I'll connect a line to meet the top of my neckline. So this is going to be the shoulder slope. Now from the first line we have, from the shoulder line, I measure down 10 inches, which is my bust point, and then I'm marking 17 inches, which is the length I want this top to be. Remember, it is a crop top. Now I'll go ahead and use my ruler to connect these lines across. The length of the top is totally dependent on you and what you want. You can actually make it way longer than what I have here. Now at the top of the shoulder slope, you are going to measure down. The measurements you are going to be taking here for your armhole is to divide your bust measurement by 6, and whatever you get, add 1.5 to it. When I calculated that, I had 7 inches, so that's what I marked here, and I'm drawing this 7 inches line across. So this is going to be 7 as our chest line. Now I'll connect a line from the top of my shoulder slope now to meet the chest line, just like you see me doing like this. Now you will take a measurement from the top of your shoulder slope to the chest line. What you have there, go ahead and use your tape to just divide it into 2 equal halves and make a point here. Okay, now from this point, go in by half of an inch. Now once you're through with that, you're going to come down to this chest line and divide your bust measurement into 4 and make a point. Now we'll be connecting these 3 points here, the shoulder here to the point in the middle here, and from this point in the middle I'll connect to the chest line. So this is going to give me a very nice armhole. Now I'm going to add my body measurements to this pattern. So on this chest line, we already marked it, but mark your bust measurement divided by 4, make it more visible. And I'm going to add 1 inch for ease. This is not stitching allowance here, this is for ease, because this fabric is not going to have a zipper, this top I mean, so I need it to be free on my body. Now on this end of the blouse, instead of using my waist measurement divided by 4, I'm using my bust measurement divided by 4. Okay, so I made that mark there, and what I'm going to do now is to join the one on the armhole area to the one around the waist. So this is basically all for the drafting of this simple top. As I've already said, I've not added any stitching allowance yet. What I only added is ease, so that this top will be able to pass through even though we don't have a zipper on it. So this is what I have. This is the pattern for the blouse. I'm going to go ahead and use this pattern right here to cut out on my actual fabric. Both the front and the back are going to have the same neckline. So guys, this is what I had after cutting on fabric. Like I said before, front and back has the same neckline. You can see I added half an inch stitching allowance to this area, 1 inch here and 1 inch here. This 1 inch is for me to be able to stitch it up here, and the extra 1 inch on this side is for me to stitch in the sides. You will also notice that I didn't add stitching allowance to the neckline and the armhole area. This is because this neckline, as you can see, is already very small. So I don't want a situation whereby it will be too small by the time I add extra stitching allowance. So I'll take allowances from this neck right here. That will make it bigger. Okay, now for the armhole, I normally don't like to add stitching allowance to my armhole. Now for the sleeve, this is a basic sleeve pattern. We're going to be using this basic sleeve pattern to cut out this bell sleeve on my fabric. This fabric here has already been folded into 4 because I want to cut out the 2 sleeves together. So as you can see, I'm placing this basic long sleeve on my folded piece. Like I said before, it's folded into 4. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this on this piece of fabric that I have here, and we're just going to alter this pattern a little bit to get our bell sleeve. So the first thing I'm going to do is to measure from the center of my sleeve. I measured 12 inches. Now you can measure more depending on how wide you want your sleeve to be. For this particular one, I'm using 12 inches. So I came out by 12 inches. Instead of marking exactly on the pattern paper, I came down by 1 inch, so that I just use that for stitching allowance. You can make it smaller if you want to, but 12 inches is perfect. Now at this armhole area, I'm going to come out by 1 inch. My chalk is faint because it's yellow, but I came out by 1 inch here because I've not added stitching allowance to this piece. Now from this 1 inch I came out by, at this top, I'm going to connect a slanted line all the way to meet the 12 inches that I came out by earlier when we were drafting this pattern. Okay, can you see? So go ahead and do this, and this is just basically how to draft out a bell sleeve. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out first before I show you guys how to get the V effect you see on the sleeve. Now guys, to get the V shape that we have on the sleeve we are trying to replicate, I am going to come up by 1.5 inch. 1.5 inch. Okay, so I'm coming up by 1.5 inch from this center of my sleeve right here. It's right here, not the first line. So from this 1.5 inch point, I'm going to connect a slant to meet the end of my sleeve. If you want it to be more V, you can go up by 2 inches or 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches should be the highest you should go so that it will not be too much. But what I used here is 1.5 inch, and as you can see, I just cut it out. So guys, this is basically all for the drafting of the bell sleeve. You can see how easy it is. Now this is the bodice. This is the body parts that we already drafted out before, and I told you guys earlier that the front and the back are going to be exactly the same thing, and we're not going to have any darts on this. So these are the 2 pieces for the front and the back. We are going to go ahead now and use a bias tape to pipe the neckline. So I'll bring a bias tape like this and go ahead, and you can first of all pin it all the way around the neckline. You will make a first stitch on the bias. You first of all stitch this all the way around like this, and then after which you will fold it up like this to pipe the neckline. So I'm going to go ahead and do this for the both necklines. So guys, this is what I had after I was done piping the neckline for both the front and the back. Is exactly the same thing. So now I'm pinning the armhole areas together for both the front and the back pieces. As you can see, you can decide not to pin this down and just go straight to your sewing machine and stitch it actually, but let's just pin it down for the purpose of this tutorial. So I'll go ahead and stitch this place and this place with 1/2 inch stitching allowance. So guys, this is what I had after I was done stitching it up here. We've basically joined the 2 pieces together. If you open it up, you can see the 2 pieces are now one. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the sleeves. So we'll bring in the sleeve. Since our sleeve is already ironed, it's going to be very easy for us to get the middle of the sleeve. So I'm going to be facing the right side of the sleeve to the right side of my fabric. This fold here is the center of my sleeve. I'll be placing it right on the place where I joined my 2 pieces together, because that's the center of my shoulder. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin this sleeve all around the armhole.
So many times that I miss you. I know how to call when I want to. Now you got way bigger issues.
Now I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and make a stitch here and do the same thing for the other sleeve. So guys, this is what the sleeve is looking like right now. I'm just really loving how this is coming out. After I was done stitching down the sleeve, you can see what I have. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish up the end of this sleeve by just folding it in like this. I'll do the same thing for the other side, and once I'm through folding it in, I'm going to go ahead and stitch down the sides. So I'll be stitching down the sides from here all the way to the end of the blouse with 1 inch that I gave as stitching allowance. I'll do the same thing for the other side, and finally I will hem the end of the blouse. So guys, this is the final look of my top after I was done making it. I'm super proud of how this came out, and I love the V shape that I had at the end of the sleeve. It's actually very nice and it looks better when I put it on. So this video that I have here didn't even do justice to the blouse when I put it on. So this is a skirt I made in my last tutorial that had a ruffle at the end. I went ahead to remove the ruffle so that I will have exactly what is in this picture. So thank you so much for watching this video today. If you're yet to subscribe, please hit on the subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you guys in my next one. Bye.